Welcome back to another exciting episode of Can It Take a K26, the show where I go through a series of Nerf blasters to see if it can in fact be upgraded with a K26 spring. I'm your host, Captain Xavier. Let's meet our contestants. Our first contestant today is the Nerf Eliminator. The Eliminator was originally released in 2008 as part of the Dart Tag line. It features a reverse plunger and an extendable grip so that I can almost get my huge monkey hands on it. It does also have a dart holder in the bottom, but can it take a K26? Let's go ahead and find out. Well, without even going any farther, I can tell that no, the Eliminator is not going to be able to take the K26. It has essentially the exact same mechanism as the Nerf Reflex, with the spring on the outside of the plunger tube, and since the K26 will not fit around the plunger tube, it will not in fact be able to take the K26, so I'm just going to stop right here and put it back together and move on to the next contestant. Yeah, no. Rubbish. Our next contestant is the Nerf Fire Strike. Originally released in 2013, this is the first of the N-Strike Elite series that we have seen. It is a direct plunger system and has a secondary trigger to activate the light. This was the replacement to the Night Finder, and the secondary trigger makes it, of course, much nicer than the Night Finders, which, of course, activated the light when you pulled the trigger. So, let's find out if this thing can take a K26 spring. Okay, taking a look at the inside, it can indeed take a K26 spring. I have updated the catch spring as it was a little bit weak on this particular model. This is another blaster where I would like to find a nice small LED flashlight that I could wire in here that it can be run off of 2 AAA batteries just so we can have a nice, useful flashlight instead of the junk one that they put in these things. But I haven't sourced one of those yet. If any of you know about one, go ahead and leave that in the comments below so that when I start putting these on my Etsy page, I can add that particular feature. Air restrictor is easy to remove, and I will be brassing the barrel as soon as the tools arrive, which they may have by the time this video actually gets published. Who knows? All right, gonna put it back together and bring out the next contestant. Then our next contestant on Can It Take a K26 is the Nerf Star Wars General Grievous Blaster. This was released in 2011 as part of the Star Wars line. It is a reverse plunger blaster, so I don't have high hopes for it, but we're gonna open it up just to make sure. Well, once again, I'm going to go ahead and stop right there. This does, in fact, appear to have the same mechanism as both the Eliminator and the Reflex, with the spring on the outside of a plunger tube. However, no, K26 is definitely not going to fit around the plunger tube, so I'm just going to go ahead and button it back up. Weak contenders today. Well, that's another no for a reverse plunger blaster. I'm beginning to see a pattern there. Kind of tragic. I was hoping to have a Star Wars blaster that was in fact a little bit beefier, but we'll make do with what we have. Let's bring out the next contestant. Our next contestant is the Nerf Pink Crush. The Pink Crush was released in 2013 as part of the Rebel line. It is originally supposed to be kind of a crossbow. It's got a faux crossbow prod, but I picked this up at Goodwill and the prod was missing, and I don't care because this is just such a svelte blaster without it. I absolutely love it. I've got to get a paint job on this thing, but first we need to answer the question of whether or not it can take a K26. Okay, we've got it open, and sure enough, it can indeed. Its internals are basically identical to that of the Fire Strike, and the trigger mechanism and the rod and all of that, it fits the K26. Again, easily removed air restrictors. It'll be easy to brass the barrel. I'm looking forward to that. This is going to be a svelte little blaster when I get it finished. It will also probably end... This one may not have been on my Etsy page. This one may end up painted and on my wall of personal blasters because I just like the feel of it so much. But if you would like one, feel free to let me know. I can probably source another one and we can talk. Good Lord, that is magnificent. I cannot wait to get this thing brassed and painted and put on my wall. I will also make it available on my Etsy page for those of you who would like to get your hands on one. So that is a definite yes for the Pink Crush. For those of you keeping track at home, that is a no for the Nerf Eliminator, a yes for the Nerf Fire Strike, a no for the General Grievous Blaster, and a yes for the Rebel Pink Crush. If you have suggestions for what you'd like to see in a future episode of Can It Take a K26, go ahead and put that in the comments below, and as always, thank you for watching this episode of Can It Take a K26.